So I define cofactor of ijth entry aij. So cofactor is a signed determinant. So the sign is -1 to the power I plus j. Okay, ij is the locator of the entry, and multiply this by aij. Aij is the submatrix of A, which is obtained by removing the ith row and jth column. So imagine there is an entry aij in your n by n matrix. Yeah. So look at that entry aij, and now its cofactor is a number. Yeah, cofactor of any entry is a number. That number is -1 to the power I plus j times determinant of the submatrix, which is obtained by removing ith column, ith row and jth column, and that matrix we are denoting by aij. So cofactor of aij is -1 to the power I plus j times determinant of aij. Okay, that is the, so every entry has a cofactor. Yeah. So I'm giving this n by n matrix. What you do is replace the given entry by its cofactor. Then I get another n by n matrix. That is called the cofactor matrix. Yeah, the cofactor matrix is denoted by COFA, is the matrix where ijth entry is the cofactor of aij. Okay, this is again an n by n matrix. Yeah. So given this n by n matrix, I construct this cofactor matrix. Then we have the following formula: A times the transpose of the cofactor matrix is equal to a scalar matrix, n by n scalar matrix, where all diagonal entries are determinant of A. Okay, and that is also equal to transpose of the cofactor matrix times A. Yeah. So once you have this formula, so I'm constructing A, I'm constructing cofactor matrix, multiply them, I will get determinant, because the determinant is sitting on the scalar matrix whose every entry is determinant. And if determinant is not zero, yeah, I can divide by the determinant and get a formula for the A inverse. Yeah. So if determinant is not zero, A inverse is simply 1 over determinant times the transpose of cofactor matrix. So this is another algorithm. It is very expensive, but useful for theoretical considerations. That in order to find inverse of n by n matrix, what you do is you replace every entry by its cofactor. Okay, take the transpose, divide by determinant, and you will get the A inverse. Okay, yeah. So here is the proof. The proof is really checking that A times the transpose of cofactor matrix is the scalar matrix. So we must calculate, we must show that ij entry on the right is same as ij entry on the left. But if I is not equal to j, the ijth entry on the right, ijth entry of this is 0. And if I equal to j, it's a diagonal entry, and that is equal to determinant. So we will show that this matrix, which is A times the transpose of the cofactor, has the same property that if I is not equal to j, the ijth entry of A times the transpose of cofactor is equal to 0. If I equal to j, the ijth entry of A times the transpose of cofactor matrix is equal to determinant of A. Yeah. So how to get ijth entry of, say, product of these two matrices? Yeah, we get the ith entry of the transpose of cofactor, ith row of the transpose of cofactor times jth row of A, jth column of A. Okay, so if you multiply the ith row of the transpose of cofactor matrix is same as ith column of the cofactor matrix. Yeah, so ith column of the cofactor matrix, and then so that is equal to cofactor of A1i, cofactor of A2i, cofactor of ANI. These are the entries in the ith column of the cofactor matrix. Then the jth column of A consists of A1j, A2j, Anh. Yeah, that's how we find ijth entry of product of two matrices. So ijth entry of the product of transpose of cofactor times A, A is equal to this. So if I equal to J, yeah, if I equal to J, then this is just the determinant. Okay, this is just the determinant. We have proved that this is just the determinant. Okay, if I equal to J, and if I not equal to J, then you can just look at this expression Yeah, and then see that you take the matrix B obtained from A by replacing ith column by jth column. Yeah, replace ith column by jth column. Then you get a new matrix which has two identical columns, right? So B has repeated column, and so its determinant is 0. And that is precisely this formula. If I is not equal to J, then replace the given matrix, replace the ith column of the given matrix by jth column. Then I get a matrix B whose ith column and jth column are equal. Its determinant is 0, but expansion by ith column or jth column gives me this formula. Okay. Therefore, this is equal to 0. And then we have proved that A times the transpose of cofactor is cofactor times the same method will give you this, that this is equal to this scalar matrix. What I have proved is that this product is equal to this scalar matrix. Okay, but the same method will give you the left hand side is also equal. Okay, so this is the formula, cofactor formula, and it gives me A inverse if determinant of A is not equal to 0. Okay. Yeah. This leads to Cramer's rule for solving linear equations, which you have seen for a 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 system of linear equations. If you have as many equations as number of variables using Cramer's rule, you can solve if determinant is not equal to 0. So let us do it for a system of n equations in n unknowns. We have in a general system of n equations in n unknowns. So I have displayed the coefficient matrix here, and x1 up to xn are the unknowns, and b1 up to bn are known quantities. We want to solve xi. Okay. Of course, we know the Gauss elimination method to solve xi using row operations, but sometimes we need a compact formula for xi. Yeah, there are situations where we need a very compact formula for xi, and Cramer's rule gives this compact formula for xi. Okay, so suppose the matrix is invertible. This applies when the matrix is invertible, because if the matrix is not invertible, then the row canonical form will have a 0 row, and therefore there is at least one free variable. Once there is one free variable, then there are infinitely many solutions. Okay, so we cannot have a formula. So we assume that the matrix is invertible, and that ensures that xi's are uniquely determined. Yeah. So Ax equal to B, and A is invertible, then X is equal to A inverse B. And we know how to calculate A inverse by Gauss elimination method or the formula using cofactors, etc. Yeah. So let Cj be the matrix obtained from A by replacing jth column of A by B. Yeah. So A is this. So look at, take the jth column of A and replace it by B. Yeah. Replace this column by B. I get a new matrix, and that is the matrix Cj. So Cj is, just I repeat, Cj is same as A, but in the jth column, I am putting B. This is jth column. That is the matrix Cj. Okay. Then Cramer's rule says that xj is equal to determinant of Cj divided by determinant of A. It's a very neat formula. Yeah, very neat formula. Given the coefficient matrix, when the coefficient matrix is invertible, I replace the jth column by the vector B. B is the B are known quantities. Okay, so replace the jth column by the vector B. I get this matrix Cj. Then find its determinant. Find determinant of A. Then xj is determinant of Cj over. Okay, let's prove this. So suppose A1 up to An are columns of A. Then we write Ax. Okay, this is a very important way of understanding Ax. We have Ax equal to B, but Ax can be thought of as a linear combination of column vectors x1 A1 plus x2 A2, etc. So Ax, there are two ways of understanding Ax. Right? How do we multiply A with a column vector? Well, the first component of Ax, which is B1, will be take the first row of A and take the dot product with X. The second component of B will be second row of A, take the dot product with X, and so on. That is one way of understanding AX equal to B. Another way of understanding is that AX is actually a linear combination of its column vector, and the coefficients are the unknown quantities x1, x2, xn, and this is equal to the vector B. Okay, so B is equal to this. Okay, so therefore, when I say replace A1 by the vector B, yeah, A1 by the vector B, I get determinant of x1 A1 plus xn an, and then A2, etc. Okay, so now by multilinearity, okay, I can open this, but after you apply multilinearity, then if only term which will survive is determinant of x1 A1 x A2 an. The other terms will become zero because the terms, I mean, you will encounter matrices which have two identical columns, right? Okay, so I get determinant of x1 A1 x A2 an, and again by multilinearity, this is x1 times determinant of A. This is my matrix C1. So that shows that xj, if I do it for x, this will say that x1 is equal to determinant of C1 over determinant of A, and same argument will show me that xj is determinant of Cj over determinant of A. Okay, so this is the compact Cramer's rule, but you see there are too many computations involved. Determinant of Cj has n factorial terms, determinant of A has n factorial terms. So we have to do n factorial times 2 computation for each variable, right? And then there are n variables. So 2n times n factorial computations we have to do. This is very expensive. This is very expensive process to find out xj. And in comparison to this, the Gauss elimination method is far more efficient. But these are formulas for theoretical purposes. Yeah, the formula for determinant in terms of cofactors, then the formula for xj in terms of determinants in Cramer's rule, they have theoretical usefulness. Yeah, similarly, computing determinant by rows or columns, fixing the rows or columns, that's how we are trained in high school to calculate. But then now you know that the Gauss-Jordan method is much more efficient. You can do a analysis of number of computations and see yourself that the Gauss-Jordan method is far more efficient than using the formulas for determinant. Okay, so that is the end of our brief introduction to determinants. We have proved some fundamental properties. Yeah? Determinant of product of two matrices is product of determinants. We have proved determinant of a matrix is determinant of its transpose. We have used the cofactor matrix to find the inverse. We have also derived a criterion for invertibility of matrices, that the matrix is invertible if and only if its determinant is non-zero. Okay, and the formula for determinant in terms of Gauss elimination method, in terms of multipliers and the number of row exchanges. So these are the basic things, and our approach was through axiomatic method. We derived formulas for determinant. We did not say determinant of a matrix is this. Yeah? We have derived the formulas that you know for determinant using the three axioms. The three axioms are alternating property, which says that if two column vectors or matrix are equal, then the matrix has zero determinant. Then multilinear property and the normalization property, that determinant of the identity matrix is 1. Okay. So this is a new approach to determinant. It is conceptually easy to understand. So please read this section and try the problems in the second tutorial. I will soon post the second tutorial on determinants.